If you think studying architecture is going to be easy or just a walk in the park like any other degree, well, you're actually right. It is. It's time to break your false beliefs, and I'm actually going to share with you some real skills to help you get through what is architecture school. You've probably met some people from architecture school and you hear them say how incredibly difficult it is and how little time they have for everything, and I'm going to show you exactly why they are wrong. The first thing is time management. So this is the biggest thing that will determine whether you pass or fail architecture school. So time management is a very broad thing that you've probably heard a lot of people talk about before. You know, when people talk about time management, they talk about setting out little timetables, sticking to your timetable plan, or you should get onto this at this time and do this at this time and make up a little, they got a cute little app on their phone. You can create your own timetable and you got little colors for each slot. And well, yes, this all does look very cool, very neat with all your little colors and timetable, but let's be honest, no one is really sticking to their timetable and the plan that they set out for themselves. Because majority of people are probably waking up in the morning, checking their phone, seeing their timetable, then probably just completely ignoring it and just forgetting about it for that day. So what you need to do is actually learn the real definition of time management and what that actually means. But actually sticking to your timetable all leads into my next point, which is the habit of starting things early. This is one of those habits that people probably hear of and they think, wow, that's a really good habit, yeah. And then they forget about it and never implement it into their lives. This habit is actually really difficult to implement. And not a lot of people can actually do this, but this is also why not a lot of people are at the top of their papers or at the top of the university. But I promise you, if you can actually implement this will set you way above all of your peers and actually get you to the top and get you that advantage. So how do you actually implement this skill of starting things early? A good way to start is to not overwhelm yourself with the amount of things you need to do and with the amount of stuff that you have to start early, because a lot of people will think of this like, as soon as you get an assignment, I gotta start it straight away. And they start thinking of all the things they have to do in this assignment. They have to do this and this and this. And then they think about the assignment as this whole big chunk of things that they have to do. And this is so much. I'm gonna start it tomorrow instead of today, I think, because that's too much for me to start today. But the key thing here is to break down your work session into these teeny tiny little digestible sessions that won't overwhelm you and that are extremely easy to complete. Honestly, even just if you get an assignment and you start it and set a time block of like 5 minutes, even just 5 minutes on that day, just open your Word document or whatever you use and just start writing your plan. Just keep bullet points like, my essay will cover this, and then you just write that for 5 minutes, and then once it's done, that's it. You can just close that and forget about it for the rest of the day and then say, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna come back to this and do this for 5 minutes again, and that's all I have to do. And you keep on doing this daily, just 5 minutes, do it here and there. The quality of your work will completely surpass the people that have just started it a couple of days before and they're rushing and they've got that anxiety pushing them to smash out the whole assignment. And while yes, you can get heaps done in that really high pressure kind of environment you set yourself by starting it like the day before it's due, and a lot of people actually vouch for this, saying that this is the best way to do it. The rush of that anxiety gives me so much willpower to finish it, but in the long run and throughout life, if that's how you choose to do your work, then you're seriously just screwing yourself over, and those people are probably not going to go anywhere seriously with what they are doing. Alright, so now my third skill, if you're new to architecture school and you want to know what you should be doing before you go into architecture school, a really good thing you can do is to start familiarizing yourself with 3D software. So while yes, you do learn the software while you're at architecture school, if you want to get that little step ahead, it's good to just familiarize yourself with what this 3D software actually does and kind of how it works. So at least when you go into architecture school and you start learning it, you kind of already have an idea and understanding, because I've seen some people that just start using, say we'll use Rhino as an example, watching someone completely new to Rhino and completely new to all 3D software, it is really difficult for them to kind of comprehend just how this actually works, compared to someone that's used a bit of SketchUp before or used a bit of something else and then come into architecture school to learn these things. It really puts you at an advantage. You'd think that architecture school and universities, that their job would, to be actually to teach you software and how to actually design these things, but honestly, because universities are mostly a scam, they kind of don't really teach you actually properly how to learn these softwares, depending on what university you're at as well. So 3D design software and those kind of building skills, you'll have to actually make yourself along the way, which is exactly why it's better to start sooner rather than later. Now, so my last point is you'll have to ask yourself a very tough question, because architecture school has an extremely high dropout rate. A lot of people go into architecture school thinking, oh, I'm going to design some cool buildings, I'm going to be able to do some neat little designs, and it'll be all sunshine and roses, and that's going to be so fun. And then they're met with the harsh reality that there is a lot of work behind this, and you have to push yourself and continue and just keep on doing work even when you really, really don't want to. So you really need to ask yourself, will you still want to do architecture, and would you still want to design things, when you wake up in the morning and you haven't had great sleep for the last 2 days in a row, and you've got a lot of pressure to finish this next assignment, and you just want to stay in bed, but you want to get up, and will you still want to do architecture then? So you need to ask yourself, is this something you seriously want to do? Because it is not an easy path. However, if the answer is yes to this, then I welcome you to the architecture world.